Okay. Hi everyone, welcome to Bar Fashions YouTube channel. My name is Eunice. So today we'll be learning how to make a cow kimono. Okay, this cow kimono is going to be a cut together with sleeve. So meaning that you're going to take your measurement from the center back of your neckline to the elbow to three-quarter of an three-quarter sleeve or to your wrist, depending on how wide you want this kimono to be. But in this case, the measurement is from the center back neckline to the elbow. That's what I'm working with, and that measurement is 20 inches for this person I'm making it for. Okay, so I'm going to use that 20 inches to fold my fabric. I've placed my fabric on fold and I have my 20 inches. So I have my 20 inches. I'm going to draw my starting line, which is the shoulder line. So I'll mark 3 inches on the shoulder line. And then I'll come down to this part where my 20 inches ends. I'll come down by 2 inches to create my shoulder slant. So connect it to this point. So I have my shoulder slant. Like I said, it's a cow kimono. So basically, this measurement is what you need and the measurement you are going to use on the hem. That's the 20 inches measurement, which is how wide it's going to be. That measurement was taken from the center back neckline to the elbow. Okay? So I'll come here now. I'll just mark the knee line. The knee line of this client is 39 inches. So plus my hemming allowance, that's 41 inches. So here's my 41 inches, 2 inches hemming allowance, and then the knee line. Okay, so I'll come here and I'll mark the hip length. The hip line of this person is 25 inches. So here's my 25 inches. Okay. So I'll come here, I'll come down. This is now, I want to create the sleeve opening of this kimono. So I'll come here, I'm going to open up by 9 inches. So I'm placing my tape from the shoulder slant and I'm coming down by 9 inches. So here's my 9 inches. So from this 9 inches mark, I'm going to go in by 1.5. So from this 1.5, so I marked my 1.5 from there. So now I'll come to the hip and the knee line. I'm just going to get the center of the hip and the knee line. That's the midpoint, which is 7 inches. So here's my 7 inches. From this 7 inches, I will come in by 6 inches. I'll come in by 6 inches. So this 6 inches, I'm going to connect the 6 inches to this point, to this 1.5 that I have here. So this is what I'll be doing. Remember I said it's a cow shape I'm creating. So can you see what we have? So I've connected it there and then I'll bring this line down this way. Okay, so this is what we have. So you just come here and create a nice curve so that it just flows well. Okay, so here also I'll come here and create a curve. Okay, so it is that simple. So I'm using a neck width. This is my back piece I'm drafting for. The front is going to have an opening. Remember I said it's a kimono. So I'm using a neck width of 3 inches and then a neck depth of 1.5 inches. So this is my 3 inches, 1.5 inches. I just curve it nicely. Okay, so I'll go ahead and cut it out. I slant the shoulder slope. So you need to really, this is what I have. And then of course I'll come here and cut out my length. And then cut out my neckline. So I'll place the cut out the back. I'll be cutting out exactly the same thing. Then I'll show, sorry, the front. Then I'll show us what to do. So I've gone ahead to cut out my front piece. So this is the back piece, you can see. This is the back piece. So, and this is now my front piece. Remember, we used a neck width of 3 inches, okay? And then a neck depth for the front of 1 inch. So I'm going to be marking these 3 inches here. The same 3 inches, I'll mark it all the way down to the hem. So after marking it out, now I'm going to cut out this, but before cutting it out, I'll come in by half of an inch. This half inch is going to be my sewing allowance because I'm going to be using this green fabric to replace to stitch this part. I want to have this space in between that 3 inches, which is the width of my neckline. Remember that is on fold, I have two, so which is the width of my neckline. I want to cut out that place. I want the kimono to be open this way. So the half inch I'm coming out by is going to be my sewing allowance for turning this strip I have here. So I'm just going to come out by half of an inch. You can eyeball it if you. I'm going to come out by half of an inch. Okay, so I've cut out this. So I will use this strip that I cut, this green strip, and then I'll sew it on half inch this way. That I'll sew it on half inch because this now is the right side of my fabric. So I'm going to sew on half inch from the wrong side, to join it with half inch on the wrong side, and then I'll turn it to the good side and then fold it this way. So that's what I'll be doing. Okay, and then I'll go ahead to cut my facing for the back. For the front now, it doesn't have facing. This is the facing for the front. Remember, I cut out the neck width all the way down to the hem. And then also I cut this fabric that I'll be using as like a band for the sleeve. So here is how I'm going to be fixing. You can see that my measurement, this is what I have here. So I'm going to be fixing it this way when I join the front and the back together. So this is how I want it to come out. I'll have this green here on the sleeve area, and then I'll also have it here on the center front for the opening of the kimono. Okay, so I'll do that and come back and show us. So this is what I'm talking about. I've gone ahead to sew my green fabric. I placed it from the wrong side, which is this way, and then I sewed on that half inch. So right now I've ironed it on the good side. Now it's on the right side of my fabric, so I'll be top stitching it. So I did the same thing for the other side. I also sewed from the bad side, that's from the wrong side of my fabric, and then I ironed and folded half inch in so that I can go ahead and top stitch it. So this is what we have for our front. So can you see that it doesn't have a regular neckline? The neckline is just here. So it's going to be like 6 inches apart this way. Okay. So then for the back, I'll go ahead to cut out my facing for the from the leftover fabric. So I've also folded my, this is my back piece, so you can see my leftover fabric. So I'm just going to trace out my neckline. So whichever amount, whatever fabric you are working with. So facing is just a smaller version of your outfit. So I'm just tracing out my neckline so that I can use it to turn to finish up the shoulder. Okay, so here we are. So this is the facing for the back. So I'm just going to take it to my sewing machine and I'll place the facing on the right side of the fabric. Okay, I'll place it on the right side of my fabric, and then I'll sew this way. So after sewing, I'll use it to join my shoulder. That's after I must have woven this part. So I'll use it to join the shoulder. Okay, then I'll show us how to fix the band that is going to be on the sleeve area. And see, I've gone ahead to top stitch. So now, and I've also gone ahead to sew my facing. You can see this is the right side. I've already ironed it to the wrong side. I placed it from the right side, and then I ironed to the right side after sewing. Then I went ahead to notch my neckline. So I'm going to be showing us how to join the shoulders now. Okay, so let me place my back piece. And this is the front piece on top of the back. Okay, so can you see this is what it should look like? Okay, so from this side now, and then like this also. So can you see? So I'm going to be using this facing now to finish off the shoulder line. So I'm going to place it now. Can you see this is the front side? That's this the front. So can you see my facing now? This facing, and then this is the main fabric. I'm going to hold like this, facing and the fabric, and then I'll bring the back now this way. So let me repeat that. I placed my good, that's the front piece on the back piece. And then of course this is the facing, and then this is the main fabric. So I picked the facing and the main fabric of the front, and then I'm flipping the back to this side. So just pin. So I'll take to my sewing machine and sew. So this is what I'll be doing. You can see the facing now, it's on the back. So I'm going to sew all the way to the sleeve length. That's to this part, to the end. And I'll do the same thing for the second side. Okay, so I've joined the shoulders together. So can you see what we have here? And we have the same thing on the other side. So can you see? So now I've also gone ahead to press it. So the next thing now to do is to fix my band. So remember that this is the part I left for the sleeve opening. I'm going to just place my band like this and sew on half inch. So by the time I'm done sewing on half inch, this is what I'll have. I'll do that on the other side. I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. Then I'll go ahead to shape on 1 inch sewing allowance, and then also hem it. So I'm done joining my kimono. Can you see what we have? So now it's time for me to fix my ruche. Remember, we're going to have a side ruche here. So I cut out my fabric. So can you see? Which is 2.5 inches on fold. So 2.5 inches wide, and then the length is 9 inches. I've already folded half inch, so everything I have was 10 inches. So can you see how I placed it on this side, on the side seam, because I want to have my ruche on the side. So I placed it on the side seam. I top stitched here, top stitched there, and then I top stitched in the middle because I want to form a casing for the ruche. So this is what I'm just going to do on this side too. You go up by 3/4 of an inch from the hem of the kimono, and then I went ahead to place my piece of fabric. So I'll just top stitch here, top stitch, and then sew in the middle. Then I'll go ahead to fix in this strips I have here that I'll use to be forming the ruche. I'll use to fix it into the casing. These two lines I have here, the essence of these three lines is for me to be able to insert my ropes into this part, this strip into this opening here. So I'll just go and do that, and then I'll show us, because that's the final stage of this kimono.